Hi, I'm Gabriel Beavers. Today I'd like to share with you a little bit about the setup I use on my upcoming amplified bassoon album called Swagger. The first track on the album lends its name to the project. It's Swagger for Amplified Bassoon, Brass Quintet, and Percussion by Charles Norman Mason. And that particular track doesn't use any kind of modification of the sound. It's simply the amplified sound. To get the amplified sound, though, I use Trent Jacobs' Little Jake setup. The Little Jake is a microphone that actually goes into the bore via a little receiver that you have to have installed on your vocal. This is the original vocal I used. It was a Fox C vocal. It came with the Little Jake setup I bought. And now, these days, I'm using my own Wolf Grunman Bend vocal that I had Midwest Musical Imports put the receiver on. And as you see here, the Little Jake mic goes in here and from out there to a preamp. You can hear the raw output of the amplified bassoon vocal from the Little Jake throughout Charles Norman Mason's work, Swagger. In fact, it was the raw, reedy sound coming straight from the vocal that inspired Chuck to write this piece for me. Now, when I started all this, I had never done amplified bassoon, and the piece that got it all started was actually The Miracle of Lascaux by Robert J. Bradshaw. I commissioned that work around 2013 and was fortunate to premiere it in 2014. And Rob is the one that suggested using guitar pedal effects. I thought, well, that's cool. I know that like Paul Hansen does that. He's pretty awesome. And I knew some other guys were doing it, but I'd never tried it before. And so I strolled down to the local guitar center and I decided, okay, I'm going to buy some pedals to go with my newly purchased Little Jake. Well, turns out pedals are kind of expensive and there's a lot of options. So what I did is I asked around and I found out that some people use software or emulated pedals. And that sounded good to me. I didn't want to have to carry around a whole bunch of pedals. So I decided on using an iPad. So what I do is I actually feed the signal from the vocal through the Little Jake microphone into a preamp, from the preamp out to something called an iRig Pro, although you could probably use any type of guitar interface that will work with your iPad or computer. And from there, I go out into the iPad from the interface. I use a program called ToneStack Go, but I think there's many programs that allow pedal emulation, including perhaps if you use like Logic, for example. I mean, you can do pedals there. In Rob Bradshaw's piece, he uses a lot of stuff like delay, distortion, chorusing, harmonizer. And what I found really interesting about using the iPad is that I can actually program several pedals to go at once and control them with this little guy here, a Bluetooth pedal board made by the same company who makes the iRig Pro. This is the iRig Blue board. And I will walk you through some of these presets I have in a second. What I thought was really cool too about the iPad is that I can reach up here and I have all my movements saved in there and I can just jump right through them and they're all ready to go. Then within each movement with the presets, I can turn the individual pedals that I choose on and off with just a stroke of the iRig Blue board buttons, and there's no latency. I mean, it's instantaneous. And a lot of places in Bradshaw's piece, I have to change right on a first beat of a measure. you've enjoyed this brief demonstration. I can't wait to share my new album Swagger with you all on August 1st. And I also hope this little video will inspire you to plug in and find new sounds on your instrument.